In the county adjacent to Mountain View County is Henry County. In Henry County lived a little family, the Allens, Seth, the father, Susan, the mother, and Roger, their son. For the first 10 years or so of their marriage, Seth was almost the ideal husband. They owned a little ranch-style house in the country. Early in their marriage, she conceived and had a son they named Roger. Seth loved Susan and Roger. He was kind and attentive to their needs, and gave of himself, doing what a good loving husband and father would do. Seth was an international sales representative for a large multinational corporation, and as such, he traveled extensively. Usually, he would be gone for a week to 10 days. When he got home, Susan and Roger would shower him with loving attention, catering to his every whim. After one particular trip, Seth returned home to the usual loving response. The next day Roger went off to school, as usual, leaving Seth and his wife alone there in their rural home. Seth walked up behind Susan and clapped a rag soaked in chloroform over her nose and mouth. It did not take too long for Susan to succumb to the anesthetic. A short while later, she woke to find herself lying on a steel frame bed with a bare mattress, completely naked with a chain around her ankle, which was locked to the frame of the bed. She also saw Seth just finishing up bolting the bed to the floor. She cried and begged her husband to release her. She begged to know why this was happening. Seth just laughed, but that laugh was such as to frighten Susan into silence. Later that day, when Roger arrived home, and Seth overpowered him much the same way as he had Susan. He carried Roger's limp body to the bed and chained him completely naked to the other end of Susan's chain. If Roger stayed on the bed, Susan could reach the bathroom, but the door could not be closed. If Susan remained on the bed, Roger could reach the bathroom. Seth fed his victims breakfast cereal and milk, sandwiches, some meat, potatoes, vegetables, and once in a while, a dessert. Susan asked him why he fed them so well, and he replied that he wanted to have them around for a long time for him to have his fun with them. Every evening after he had fed Susan and Roger, he lit up a cigar, smoked a little, and then began to torture his victims, burning any place on their bodies that would not show when they were dressed. Often, he would cut their flesh, shallow cuts, then he would pour in salt, just to hear them scream. He used Roger as an ashtray. He would burn or cut them often, loving their screams of agony. Since they lived in the country, not many people missed them. Only the school officials wondered. When the officials visited the Allen house, Seth convinced them, and any visitors, that Susan had taken Roger and left him. He claimed to know nothing else about their whereabouts. After nearly a year of this, Susan and Roger were resigned to this hellish life, hoping and praying for rescue or death. One evening Seth arrived home quite drunk. He screamed obscenities and stumbled around very near unconsciousness. Seth finally dropped to the floor unconscious, typical drunken snoring issuing from him. Because of the limitations of their chain, Susan was the only one who could reach him. Heart striving to escape from her chest, terrified, Susan rolled the unconscious drunk over and went through his pockets. She found his wallet and keys. She emptied Seth's wallet and unlocked the chain from her leg and Roger's leg. Free, they dressed, they chained Seth's leg and threw the key to the lock down the toilet. They grabbed boots, coats, and other items they considered essential and ran. She and Roger got into their car and drove to the Mountain View County seat and left the car outside of town and ran into the town to find shelter. They found an old tool shed and there they fell down, snuggled up, and slept. So as not to attract undue attention, Susan felt that Roger should go to school. She took every precaution to try to ensure that her husband would never find them.